An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own. Diving back into the discography of 4Minute, we skipped over their compilation album, the only one that they made in September 2012, called Best of 4Minute. That was a Japanese one. That's why we're skipping it. And we hurl ourselves into 2013. And at this point in history, this being April 26, 2013 specifically, I was maybe a handful, October, 6 months. I was 6 months into this K-pop thing. This is when I became familiar with them, genuinely familiar with them. And comparing it to my opinions from all those years ago to now, this was an interesting one. Let's get into it after the drop.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show start.
I was a baby in all of this. I was only 6 months in when this particular album dropped. And we already acknowledged early on in the first episode for these ladies that had I heard their first album when I first got into everything, I more than likely would have ended up being a huge fan of them instead of 21, who, side note, we're going to be referencing them when we talk about 4Minute because their histories are just so close together. But side note, yesterday was the 11th year anniversary of 21's debut, which means we are coming up swiftly on 4Minute's 11-year debut anniversary as well. Real cool stuff. It was, it's just interesting seeing what all can happen within the span of a decade. For me, I was still wet behind the ears, very excitable, very engaged, and still fresh in learning the Korean language. So the lead single from this song, What's Your Name? I was geeked up. I understood the words. It was a simple song. It wasn't asking too much from me. I knew how to say la 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 ira mi moeo. I knew what it meant. It was one of those early moments for me where I could put book learning against everyday consumption. It was real excited. And real exciting. I'm sorry, not real excited. I was real excited. It was real exciting. But I never got past that. I was still in a phase of listening to music where I would only hear the single, not realizing that a full album was attached. Yes, I knew it for 21. I partially knew it for Big Bang. I knew for VIX and I knew for M Black, but I wasn't diving into other groups. So when I heard this, I'd already seen Hyuna before. Bubble Pop had already happened in my world. I was already sucked in. The video was colorful. The song was thumping. We have a whole dance pop album. Sprinkles, not even sprinkles. Let's be for real. It's electro pop and dance pop as all get out. So we've talked a lot about some of the genres that have been a thing that they really dive in. And once again, electro pop, you've got synthesizers. It's synthy. It's loud. It's got a lot going on. I loves it. It's got electronic drums. We've spoken about this before, so I'm just giving you a quick overview of it again. So this particular album is just over 14 minutes, and it's on Cube as well as Universal Music label. The tracks that we have are What's My Name, the intro, and then What's Your Name, which was produced by Brave Brothers. And I think that's why it just thumps and feels so good. Brave Brothers is Kang Dong-chul, and he's a solo person. Like, even though he goes by the name Brave Brothers, like plural, he's a rapper, he's a record producer, and he has his own label called Brave Entertainment. He used to produce at YG Entertainment from 2004. Give me a moment. Let me double check. We don't want to just go off of the top of my head. That's what computers are for. That's what checking is for. Okay, Brave Brothers. Kang Dong-chul. He's that much older than me. Go ahead. He's born June 17th, 1979. Well, all right then, sir. Okay. Let's take this from Wikipedia. Quote, he was a producer and composer for YG Entertainment from 2004 to 2008. In 2008, he started his own record label called Brave Entertainment. He has produced hit songs for After School. We're coming to them real soon. Sistar, 4Minute, Tiara, Sondambi, Big Bang, Brown Eyed Girls, AOA, coming to them soon, Hello Venus, and You Kiss, end quote. I really like the sound of the songs produced by this particular gentleman. So, he definitely took the reins on the production as well as the lyrics for What's Your Name? Irami Moel. I believe it's still stuck in my head. So again, let's go through the track list, and I got sidetracked. What's My Name? What's Your Name? Whatever. Give Me That, and Domino. And whatever is sassy to me. It's basically like, look, boy, you coming to me, whatever you talking, look, I can deal with it. Just bring it, bruh. Whatever you want to do, I got you. Like, it's sassy. It's sassy. Had I listened to the entire EP back in 2013, burping on the sea, I just be giving y'all everything. Burping in the mic, had I listened to it back then, I think I would have been very excited about it, and I would have had a greater wave of nostalgia when I sat and listened to this album. But at this point, I'm listening to it with the ears of a person who's trying to give you an understanding of what you're getting into before you jump into it. It's fun. It's loud. And that has nothing to do with my asthma medication and allergy medicine kicking in, making me drowsy. It's by default, it's loud. It's electro pop. So although the songs really give you some movement, you feel like the album is pacing at a good speed, it's loud. And then whatever took the approach that Girls' Generation did on January 1st, 2013, when they released I Got a Boy. And you're like, what production choices are we going with? What are we trying to convey here? It does a little bit of that. It goes in one direction, totally pivots into another, shoves the two together, and tells you to accept it for who and what it is for 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So there was a lot going on here that I probably just would have been excited about for the sound then. But at this point, I feel like it needs to be compressed. I feel like the production on it is just so loud. Doesn't make it any less fun, but this is something that you'll hear a song you like, you'll turn it up a bit, and then you'll have to bring the volume back down on it. The volume difference between track 1, What's My Name, and then track 2, What's Your Name? Brave Brothers just produced it totally different from the other people who are responsible. And it shows. It legitimately shows. For the song Whatever, there is someone who's involved in it called Eileen De La Cruz. I'm very interested in finding out more pertaining to that person. In a D3, I think it's D3O, like CPO, or it might be D30. Because, I mean, this is Korea and people have some real interesting takes on names. Good grief. I'm not trying to put you in a space of believing that the album is not worth listening to. It's appealing. It's definitely something that's fun. And given the circumstance that weather is starting to warm up for a lot of the main audience of this podcast, it might be something that will give you some good summer feeling vibes. But you're going to have your hand ready to adjust the volume. I'm just telling it like it is. It's well put together. It's just sonically nerve-wracking in terms of volumes levels. There's nothing difficult about the writing. I don't even anticipate it for them whatsoever. This is the third album we've gone into where the lyrics are pretty simplistic and they don't show an improvement of vocal strength. It's just not something that they really had. They had a look, they had a vibe, but not necessarily you think of them and be like, oh my God, they could sing. And that's okay. Everything doesn't have to be about that. Everything doesn't have to be about having earth-shattering vocals. It's not a necessity, but you're not like, ooh, Ji-yoon like did that, or ooh, Hyuna held that amazing note. Like, like no, that's not what's gonna happen. Prior to this coming out, January 17th, 2013, we had a subunit. Now, we don't really get into subunits because we're focusing on the main groups first. We'll come back around to all that stuff later on. We not on them, so we not on them. To Yoon should have happened around the time I was talking about for 21. So we're just going to shove it in here real quickly. They did a song. January 17th, 2013. It was an album. It's called Harvest Moon. That was the name of it. And the members of that group are Gayoon and Jiyoon. It's the only subunit that came from 4Minute. And they had their time under the sun from 2013 to 2016 because, the group ended at that time. So their discography was very short. They had Harvest Moon, again, January 22nd, 2013, so a few months before this album's release. And then they also had a single called 24/7, and that was it. So we don't have to really dwell too much on that. We don't have to jump too deeply in it. I covered it. It's done with. But what I did not share is the rank for this album in terms of its accomplishments, not to Yoon, but 4Minute for the particular album of this episode. So Name is 4Minute was released in CD and digital format. It ranked number 2 on the Korean charts. Now, the album before that, Volume Up, was their first number 1. And quite honestly, it was their only number 1. But I feel like the number should be reassessed on that. And we'll talk about that when we do final thoughts. I just feel like it's premature to say it now, but I just got a feeling in my stomach. So they ranked 83rd on the Japan charts, and this also ranked on the U.S. world charts. This was the first thing they did that did rank, and they ranked at 13. At the time of this recording, they sold 27,310 Korean units of this album and 1,998 of the Japanese version. So let's get into this rank then, yeah? K-pop fans, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being essential listening and 1 not worth mentioning, the A3-Day ranking on this album is a 4.5. It could be a 5 if it wasn't so damn loud. I can't get over how loud it is. And I thought it was because my ears were being sensitive, but I listened to the album 3 times today. And it's just loud. And that's just not what you need from a song. In order to get that thumping, exciting, oh, I need to club and party and whatnot, you don't have to take the meter on the volume and have it almost redlining. You just don't have to. I'm guilty of it as a producer. I'm not above it in the least bit. But that's also because I lack the equipment to make a consistent sound sometimes. But even being aware of that, you try your best to find something thereafter when you have your listeners listening to anything to kind of mellow that out and balance it out. So I'm not picking on something that I'm not guilty of. I am more than capable and willing to critique where I lack as a producer, which also makes it easier for me to hear where there could be some discrepancies with others. So that's where we are with that. I appreciate you all so much for being understanding of the time I needed to take to get my body acclimated to new medications and new schedules. I'm still sucking at it. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I recorded this at like 1 a.m. I should have been asleep for hours. But we're going to get there. Every step of the way is a process. I'm extremely grateful for the kind words you all have been sharing with me, just your feedback about the listening experience, being understanding of recording content and recording consistencies and inconsistencies. Let's just be for real. So thank y'all. Like every single episode, I feel as if I'm thanking you all more and more, but you don't know how much this feeds my spirit and my passion for music and nerdiness about being so excited about music. So thank you all for that. And I will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Your favorite foreign Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z.
There are sponsored ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my McGualas, the most amazing fan base a little entertainer could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the magic too. Interested in continuing your support at the free $99 price? I love you for it. You can still engage with the show when you retweet, repost, and share the show and use hashtag A3 and the word DAY. You can also tag MULTIFACETEDACG to get my attention. And if you're listening to this podcast on a platform other than Anchor.fm, please leave a few stars or a review to keep things growing in the right direction.